I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com, and today's video I'm just going to talk about some of my old experiences, sort of an interpretation of a lifetime of drunkenness told from the other side, so to speak. And by the other side I mean now that my mind has been clear of one intoxication for over 2.5 years. I've had a lot of time to think about how alcohol works. I have a much deeper understanding of the part that alcohol played in my life, and sort of to a certain degree how it's playing out and how it's been playing out in our society for the last century or so. So I wanted to do sort of a little bit of a retrospective today, taking a quick look back at an interpretation of my 30-year relationship with alcohol. Now, I started drinking when I was a naive teenager. I was 12, 13. I was following the herd. I wanted to do what all the big boys were doing, and I wanted to do what my parents were doing, what my teachers were doing, what I saw all around me, doctors, nurses, all that kind of stuff. Now, I continued to drink alcohol for over 30 years, and over those years I gradually drank more and more as the alcohol's effect on my body diminished. Just the effect wasn't, the more you drink, the more you have. And I thought about my alcohol addiction, it was more of a way of life than an addiction. I never thought about it like that. And through all those years, my biological system has always had my back. Thinking back on it, my body was only reacting to this poison that I was chugging down, and it was acting in my defense. The drunkenness, everything. In the beginning, this biological reaction sort of manifested itself enough to make me ill every time I drank. My body would force me onto my knees. My head would be stuffed down a toilet bowl or in a bush or over the side of a road. I'd be feeling like I was going to die. The world would be spinning around my head and vomit would be flying out of my gob. That happened, I think, for the first few times. Now, that's an unambiguous sign that something is very wrong. It doesn't take a genius to work out what the cause was. Cause and effect. Drink alcohol, vomit, feel ill. Now, when you're in the middle of this torture, it's really easy to moan to yourself and think, never again, I'm never going to do that again. How many times have you said that to yourself? Now, as a side note, if your body didn't react in this way, if your defense system all of a sudden decided that it wanted to take a night off, you would die within 12 to 24 hours. That's what they reckon. Without your liver function, without all the rest of it, death, 12, 24 hours. Let's get back to my body. As I said, it doesn't take a genius to work out why your body is having this reaction. Now, I've heard some people calling this drunkenness and all that kind of stuff an allergic reaction to alcohol, that they've got an allergy. That's a bit like saying that they're allergic to arsenic or snake bites. Genius or not, I knew what had provoked such a violent reaction in my body, and yet I kept returning for more and more and more. Then, because of this relentless effort on my part, my body started to reduce the effects of the alcohol. So when I drank, I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel the world all spinning around. And I didn't even feel very drunk after a while. If I drank the same amount of beer, it was, I was getting used to it. Of course, the intention of my body wasn't that, we'll make it so that you can drink more of the stuff, cool. The intention of my body was to protect me. By reducing the effects of the alcohol, my body was sort of assuming that this intake of toxins was unavoidable, that it was something in the environment or whatever. And it was arranging so that I could function in my life, I could do the things that I needed to do regardless of the poison that I was deliberately delivering upon myself. Now, the problem was there was a complete disconnect between my mind and my body. You know, my body, the physiological aspects of my body didn't understand what the motivations of my brain were. It didn't realize why I was drinking this intoxicant, this alcohol in the first place. Now, much of the disconnect was in my body didn't understand that there were powerful influences outside of myself that were sort of feeding my drinking motivations. You know, the human body hasn't got a clue that there's a lot of propaganda in your ear all the time that is sweeping away all your doubts, and it's driving your impulsive behavior, despite this torture that you're putting your body through and on a daily basis. And my body didn't understand that I was also being encouraged to poison myself by the very people who should have known better. You know, those people who I trusted to sort of guide me through the darkness and to teach me the right way of doing things. I mean, this is something that we have grown up in evolution to do, you know. A parent teaches a son, blah, blah. You know, my body didn't understand that I drank because I wanted this buzz, that I liked this wobbly, giddy feeling that being poisoned was giving me. I remember I used to enjoy, when I was really young, being spun around on this playground roundabout. I think I don't know what it's called in America, a carousel or something, you know, this thing that spins around. And I used to love it until one day I fell off and I bust my head open on the concrete floor. You know, there was none of these soft paddings in those days. Same thing. All these years, I didn't realize that my body was just protecting me, you know. My body didn't know I actually enjoyed all this turmoil that I was causing on myself. So for over 30 years, there was this disconnect between my body and mind, both pulling in completely opposite directions. Now finally, thank whoever, through the fog, through everything that was happening in my life, through all the consequences and the results of all that drinking, and consequences to the people that I loved, I realized what it was that my body was trying to tell me. Stop swallowing this fucking poison. It's killing you. Now by that stage, I was drinking almost every day. I was drinking habitually every day. Was I going to suffer for the rest of my life because I couldn't drink, I couldn't continue my life without drinking any more of this poison? Now the genius in me finally worked out that I had built a bad habit revolving around drinking a poisonous liquid that was slowly killing me. That's, you know, I think we all come to that conclusion. I hadn't realized that every time I flung my body into this turmoil, or whatever you want to call it, feeling the buzz, getting drunk, whatever, I was suffering from alcohol poisoning every time. If I stopped the flow, once I stopped the flow, the poisoning would also stop. The turmoil would stop, and my brain could get back into sync with my body. You know, instead of going in opposite directions, they could start going forward in the same direction. And from the other side, here I am 2.5 years later. My body and brain have got to that place where they're sort of reconnected. You know, I feel like I've been given I feel like I've been given another go, like I've been given this second chance at life. You know, maybe I wasn't really ready the first time around, you know, with all the propaganda and everyone else doing it, and, you know, who knows? You don't know anything like that, so. The thing is, I won't be wasting it. I don't need a third chance. So listen, click the like button if you got anything out of this video. Till next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery, onwards and upwards.